Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Count the Kicks presentation, our evidence-based program that's proven to improve birth outcomes for expectant parents and babies. My name is Naya Thomas, and I'm joined by Megan Ockett. And before we start, I want to highlight a success story showing the importance of baby movements and paying attention to those movements during your pregnancy. So let's listen to Nala's story.
She came back in after she had me put on the monitor and stuff, and she's like, we're just gonna take her. And I'm like, what? And she's like, her heart rate is dropping every time you have a contraction. I was already scared, because I was a high-risk pregnancy. Well, I basically learned from the doctor's office, the little yellow sign that was right there. Once she started moving, I was very alert with her movements. That was what I lived for, just because I wanted her to make it and survive. When she started moving, she moved, and she was consistent. It was always at a certain time. Nala was a kicker. When she started kicking, she was kicking. And this day, she wasn't moving at all. I started drinking cold water. I was drinking so much, my stomach was hurting to make her move. And she didn't move at all for me at all that time. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna get her checked out. It was the heart rate that was dropping. Like they said, her heart rate would drop real low every time I would have a contraction, and they were like back to back. She thought that it would save the baby, so she pulled her out. She was like, it's a good thing you came when you did, you know what I'm saying? Because if you wouldn't have, we probably wouldn't be having the same outcome. I think about it every day, like, oh man, what if, what if? Definitely to pay attention and count the kicks. I feel like it's important just because had I not, knew to do that, Nala wouldn't be here. Don't second guess yourself. Don't feel bad or stupid. Don't worry about insurance or the emergency room bill. Go check on your baby, because your baby might not be here. Just pay attention. Seriously, like, it's your baby's life.
So, what is Count the Kicks? What is the app that Dana used to save Nala's life? Count the Kicks is evidence-based program designed to help parents to get their babies here safely. It educates expectant parents on the importance of tracking babies' movements. It empowers expectant parents to speak up to providers if there's a concern. And it's an early warning system for anything that could be wrong in the third trimester. So we want you to feel empowered as parents to speak up to medical providers or to get seen in an emergency room if you notice a change in your baby's movement. We have a variety of options for tracking your baby's movement. We have the mobile app, we have the web counter, and paper charts available as well to help with the counting that we'll talk about more a little bit later. So we know our program can be effective. We have over 150 success stories. And if you're not pregnant, but know someone who is, whether you're a doula on this call or you're with a community organization or a childbirth educator, or you just know someone who is pregnant, please do share this information so that you can save a baby's life. So why does movement matter? Movement is one very important way a baby communicates before birth. A change in a baby's movement can be an early sign and sometimes the only warning that a baby may give when in distress. So when we are not feeling well, we might change our activity level as adults. We may lay in bed or um, instead of exercising or going to work or being as active as we are when we're feeling well, or doing our daily activities, we might move a little bit slower. Babies are similar. Their movements may become weaker during a time of distress. So when a baby's not feeling well, they naturally preserve blood flow to vital organs such as the brain and heart to conserve energy and self-protect. So it's important that when we feel a change in our baby's movement, that we pay attention to this as a warning sign and take action. So all of that to say, movements matter, and so it's important that we count our baby's movements. When should you start counting movements? So it's important to begin counting at about 28 weeks of pregnancy or 26 weeks if considered high risk or pregnant with multiples. This is when research indicates baby has established a consistent pattern that parents can feel um, and can track. What counts as a movement? So kicks, pokes, jabs, rolls, pushes, anything except for hiccups, because hiccups are considered involuntary movements. We'd love for you to spend time once a day when your baby's usually active to see how long it takes for them to get to about 10 movements so you can get to know what's normal for your baby. And we'll get into a little bit of more about what's normal and irregular for your baby on the next slide here. Excuse me. So there are about 5 steps for tracking your baby's movements. So here's what you should do. So starting at the third trimester, you can begin counting. So the first step is monitoring your baby's movements with the free Count the Kicks app or web counter. You can visit the counttthekicks.org website, or you can download a paper movement monitoring chart. The second step is you can count your baby's movements every day, preferably at the same time. And it's important to try and pick a time when your baby is normally active, whether that be in the morning before you head to work, or in the afternoon, or after you've finished your workday. Make sure it's consistent and at the same time every day. The third step is take time how long it takes your baby to get to 10 movements. And then you're rating the strength of those movements for your baby. So, how strong are the movements that you're feeling? Fourth, after a few days of those movements that you're feeling, you will begin to see an average length of time that it takes to reach the 10 movements. So every baby is different, right? So some babies may take 4 minutes to reach 10 movements, and some may take 30 minutes. But each mom needs to get to know what's normal for her baby in order to know when something's off. So it's important that you not compare to any other pregnant person and their baby, and really take into account what's normal for your baby. And if you do feel like something is off, that's where number 5 comes into play. And you call your provider right away. And if you notice a change in the strength of your baby's movements and how long it takes your baby to get to 10 movements, that's when share the information that you have in the Count the Kicks app and what you found as far as the strength of the movement or how many movements that you've been counting. And so now I'll pass it off to Megan, who will share more about the Count the Kicks app.
Great. Thank you so much, Naya. Hi, everybody. I am really excited to talk to you about some of our tools that you have at your fingertips. The first tool that I want to talk about is our free kick counting app. And so I highly encourage you to go into your app store right now if you're able. Search Count the Kicks, and you'll find that little yellow clock icon, and you'll be able to download the app. While I'm talking today, I will have Naya go ahead and click that first photo because it's going to walk you through how to use the app. So every day in the third trimester, just like Naya said, we want you to choose a time every day that works for you when baby's most active. Maybe it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon because that's when you can take a break and sit down and focus on your baby. Or maybe it's around 10 o'clock at night when everybody else is asleep and you can sit down and finally focus on baby and lay on your left side and just count those movements. So as you can see in that video there, I am tapping the footprint every time I feel baby move, roll, push, jab. Again, anything except hiccups because hiccups hiccups are involuntary, just like Naya said, and they do not count towards the movement count. And then you can see after you get to 10 movements, the timer stops and you will see a rating system between fluttery to fierce. So that means we want you to rate the strength of those movements during that session. So was your baby, really strong and active and moving quite a bit and like they're jabbing out limbs through your stomach? It's all up to you on how you want to rate the strength of those movements. But again, it's very important to pay attention to both how long it takes your baby to get to 10 movements and the strength of those movements. So what's really cool about the app is after you do a session, after a couple times, you start to see the average amount of time it takes your baby to get to 10 movements. So you'll see here in a minute, after I write some additional notes, which you can also have, you see a graph. So a visual representation of how your baby's been moving. So you get to know what's normal for your baby. I get to know what's normal for my baby, and we can speak up to our provider if we notice a change. Some other key features that I wanted to highlight is currently our app is in over 20 languages. We are constantly adding languages to the app. We want to make this as inclusive, user-friendly as possible. So I recommend going to our website every once in a while, countthekicks.org, and just viewing our kick counting section to see if there's any additional languages that have been added. This is completely free. There are no ads. We do not sell or share your app data. It's completely private. Some other features that I want to highlight are that you can set daily reminders in the app. So if you're a doula listening today, I highly encourage you to work with your clients to set those daily reminders within the app so they don't have to worry about forgetting a session. If you're pregnant and using the app today, remember to go in and do that in your My Zone. You can access your My Zone at the bottom of the app there that you see on the first screen. And what's really great about the My Zone section is there's resources there, such as our Find Help tool that you can access, where you can find free and reduced cost resources near you. In addition, in the My Zone section, you can also access things like additional resources, digital badges to encourage you to count daily. You can also access Ask Anna, which is our new AI assistant, where you can ask fetal movement monitoring question, baby movement monitoring questions, and get evidence-based answers in real time. So Anna is pulling from research that we have collected with our providers and submitted to the app developers. So Anna is not responding from Dr. Google or TikTok or anything like that. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention was we recently added a contraction timer and OCR, which is a tool for you to use if you are using a paper kick counting chart that you can access for free on our website, but you would also like to add your data that you manually write down. You can use the OCR function on the My Zone, which is where you go in and you click read my paper kick counting chart, and you will be able to scan that. So really play around with the app. There's a lot of cool features. It's really user friendly. You can download the history. You can share it with your provider or your doula. You can share it with family or friends. There's just a lot of different cool pieces that I highly recommend you using, and it's completely free. So go check that out today as you're listening. So now that you know a little bit more about the importance of tracking your baby's movements, when to start tracking, let's talk about some additional common questions that you might have. One of those questions that we get asked often or we get asked to clarify is things like, I was told my baby should get 10 kicks in 2 hours or 10 kicks in 1 hour. And so what we want to do today is highlight the fact that research is moving away from the fact that we should get 10 movements in 2 hours. What research is now moving towards is getting to know what's normal for your baby. So when we put a big time frame on that, like 2 hours or 1 hour, that's what we focus on versus getting to know what's normal for our baby. If you are counting around the same time each day, you should start to see a pattern for your baby's movements. So if I'm counting and I count at 10 o'clock in the morning during a coffee break and I get, 15 movements or 10 movements in 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden I was counting and it took significantly longer. My graph changes. I'm not going to wait for 2 hours to see about the 10 movements. I'm going to go ahead and call my provider. So there's more information on our website about this particular misconception or myth. So feel free to check that out. But what's really important is getting to know what's normal for your baby. Another comment or question that we get asked a lot is if my baby's not moving, should I just drink orange juice or Mountain Dew or eat a Snickers bar? Or I've heard things like do jumping jacks. And research again is moving away from things like juice and other interventions like candy, sugary substances, movement to get baby to move. What research says is exactly what Naya said earlier. If you are feeling sick as an individual, you are conserving your energy, you're resting. Same with baby when they're in your tummy. They are resting, they're conserving their energy as well. Maybe they can't move, maybe it's an umbilical cord or infection. Whatever it is, we do not want to try and force baby to move with like sugary drinks and the like if they're not moving like normal. So, again, when in doubt, trust those instincts, mamas, and go in. And then the other one that I wanted to briefly mention was the use of a Doppler device. So, a Doppler device is a tool that providers will use to listen to the baby's heartbeat in clinic. Unless you're medically trained, we do not recommend or encourage the use of home Dopplers. Home Dopplers and the like it's very easy to hear your heartbeat and think it's your baby's heartbeat. And I would like to stress that the baby's heartbeat is one of the last things to change when a baby's in distress, whereas movements is one of the first things. So we do not want to encourage the use of home Dopplers. And again, use the other tools that we've talked about today. Trust those instincts. Get to know what's normal for your baby. So as we wrap up on this final slide, I think Nye and I both would like to send you off with some great tasks to do. So we recommend downloading the app. Go ahead and register once you download it. Set your reminders. If you need any additional information or have other questions, visit our website, reach out to us. We love talking to people in the community. We love sharing this information. We're very passionate about it, as you can tell. And so feel free to reach out to us at any time if you have other questions. And then I'll leave you with one quick thing that we've both said is to trust those instincts. You know your baby best. So you go to your provider, you go to the emergency room if you feel like you need to be seen. If you're using the app, that's a great tool to show the data, but trust those instincts. And with that, we would like to close and say happy counting to everybody on the call and listening today. We hope that you have a very joyful experience and be sure to visit us and download the app at counttthekicks.org. Thank you.